Imagine waking up and finding your life rearranged by a single number, a balance that hums under your skin. Overnight fortune smiles, a startup you barely believed in explodes, a crypto bet moons, an old investment pays off, or a dead relative leaves you a mountain of cash. Your phone rings, doors open. People you once ignored now have opinions about your future. Joy at first, then the sound, the slow, hungry hiss of interest. This is the moment most men explode, not from celebration, but from exposure. Machiavelli didn't write about lottery tickets. He wrote about survival. He taught rulers to conceal strength, to build fortresses not of stone, but of silence and structure. When you get rich, tell no one. Not because secrecy is cowardice, but because silence is strategy. Listen, fortune is loud and fickle. It seduces the careless and devours the boastful. When wealth arrives like a thunderclap, it doesn't soften your enemies. It sharpens them. It doesn't create friends. It reveals who was only ever waiting for you to fail. The wealthy who shout their wins become targets. The wealthy who whisper survive. This is not morality, it's mathematics of human nature. People are animals wrapped in stories. Money removes the story and reveals the animal. Law 1. Concealment. Silence is your armor. In the modern world, exposure is death. The more they see, the more they aim. Machiavelli once wrote, "It is safer to be feared than loved," but what he meant was deeper. Fear protects, visibility provokes. Love is conditional. It fades when you stop feeding it. But envy is eternal. The moment you show success, you awaken the silent predators, friends who start keeping score, relatives who remember old favors, strangers who smell opportunity. Imagine Marco, a fictional man who sold his startup for millions. The first thing he did was broadcast it. New mansion, new cars, champagne dinners. He posted every moment online. For a year, the dopamine was intoxicating. The world applauded. But within 2 years, his fortune was bleeding from 1,000 cuts. Lawsuits from partners he barely knew, manipulative lovers, investors demanding backdoor deals, and a cousin who claimed Marco stole his idea. The final blow came from someone he once mentored, a friend turned parasite who sued him for mental distress. Marco didn't lose his wealth because of bad investments. He lost it because he was visible. Noise invites siege. Attention breeds opposition. The truth is, the more people know, the less you control. The wise man understands that power thrives in mystery. When you hide your wealth, you force others to guess, and guessing is chaos for those who want to hurt you. You must master the art of disappearing in plain sight. Dress modestly, speak less, let your neighbors think you're ordinary. The goal is not to look poor, it's to look uninteresting. A predator only hunts what it can see. Become invisible, and the wolves lose their scent. The ones who truly rule the world, the old banking dynasties, the shadow billionaires, you won't find them flaunting watches or exotic cars. They operate through silence. Be the man who owns everything but appears to own nothing. Law 2. Structure. Fortify what you own. Emotion is weakness in the language of power. The moment you say, "I earned this," you're speaking sentiment, not strategy. Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say, "The prince who relies on affection rules at another's pleasure." The same is true with money. Your wealth must not rely on your name, your identity, or your goodwill. It must rely on structure, cold, impersonal, legal structure, trusts, holdings, asset protection. These are your fortresses. The rich lose money not because they're stupid, but because they build castles of emotion, not architecture. Ownership that is obvious is ownership that can be attacked. When someone knows what you have, they know where to aim. But if your assets flow through layers, companies within companies, names within names, you become smoke, untouchable. Machiavelli advised rulers to govern through lieutenants, to distance themselves from the consequences of power. You should do the same. Use professionals, accountants, lawyers, advisors who translate your wealth into systems that look dull but protect like armor. The Rothschilds built dynasties by appearing boring. Their ledgers were invisible, their power unstoppable. They understood the first rule of modern sovereignty: be ordinary in appearance, extraordinary in reach. Be the man whose balance sheet nobody can read. Build the fortress before you celebrate the throne. Law 3. Work. Motion is survival. When sudden wealth arrives, most men fall into the trap of idleness. They believe money replaces purpose. They think freedom means doing nothing, but doing nothing is the fastest way to become prey. Idleness makes men soft. Power demands movement, not chaos, but disciplined motion. Work isn't just about income anymore. It's about keeping your edge sharp. The blacksmith who stops hammering forgets the weight of his blade. Bezos didn't stop building after becoming the richest man in the world. Buffett still wakes up before dawn to read. That's not greed, that's survival instinct. Work keeps your instincts alive, your perception clear, your mind dangerous. The man who continues working after getting rich becomes unpredictable. He is not owned by his wealth, he owns it. The man who stops becomes consumed by it. Create, build, expand. Not because you need to, but because you must. Rhythm is protection, action is armor. Keep your purpose alive, and your wealth will follow your momentum. Law 4, debt is domestic treachery. There's no louder assassin than high-interest debt. It doesn't stab, it eats, quietly, invisibly, until your fortune rots from the inside. A 20% loan is not financial inconvenience, it's internal rebellion. Machiavelli warned, the disease seen early is easy to cure, but if neglected, becomes incurable. Debt is that disease. It starts small, harmless, then it compounds. It multiplies faster than greed, faster than growth. Before you realize it, your wealth becomes hostage to interest. Your first priority, before investing, before expansion, is to crush the traitor within. Pay off high-interest obligations. Treat each debt like an insurgency threatening your empire. There is no such thing as good debt when it enslaves your peace of mind. Kill it fast. Then build your fortress on clean ground. Law 5. Preserve the principle, harvest the yield. Here lies the secret most millionaires never learn. Wealth isn't what you spend, it's what you protect. Treat your capital like soil, fertile, sacred. Never burn it for warmth. When you consume your principle, you kill your kingdom. Live off the yield, the interest, the dividends, the rents, the returns. Never touch the core. Imagine your capital as a living tree. The leaves are income. The trunk is your foundation. Pluck the fruit. Never cut the wood. Machiavelli would call this discipline the virtue of endurance. A ruler who devours his reserves is not a ruler. He's a beggar in waiting. Systems generate freedom. Cash flow sustains peace. Do not chase luxury, chase longevity. Law 6. Boundaries over bonds. When wealth arrives, you will learn the true nature of human beings. Every relationship becomes a transaction test. Friends will borrow, relatives will beg, lovers will demand. The sentimental man gives until he's drained. The wise man gives with rules. If you must help, make it a one-time gift, not a loan. Make it documented, make it final. Machiavelli taught that mercy should be swift and strategic, not continuous. Be generous by design, not by default. The moment you become someone's financial crutch, you are no longer respected, only used. A rich man without boundaries is a walking ATM surrounded by emotional blackmail. The strongest love is conditional on respect, and respect dies where dependency begins. Law 7. Portfolio as governance. Now that you've built your fortress, you must rule it. Treat your investments as provinces, each with a purpose. The prince doesn't put his entire army on one ridge, he divides it wisely. Diversify like a strategist. Broad equities for long-term growth. The infantry, bonds for stability. The diplomats, real estate for permanence. The fortresses, a small slice in speculative ventures. The scouts, and always, always a cash war chest. Your reserve army for crisis or opportunity. Your percentages don't matter as much as your philosophy. Balance aggression with prudence. Control chaos through order. Build a system where one asset bleeds while another thrives. A wise ruler strengthens himself through variety, alliances, fortresses, and arms. Your wealth should do the same. A modern portfolio isn't about excitement, it's about endurance. You're not gambling, you're governing. Every dollar is a soldier, every investment is a strategic post. Your empire must outlive your emotion. And remember this final truth: the most powerful men in history didn't announce their victories, they hid them. Because real wealth, like real power, doesn't seek attention, it seeks control. So when you finally rise, when fortune bends to your will, remember the first and final rule of Machiavelli: the wise man acts in silence. The fool declares his triumph. Tell no one. Move like a shadow. Own the empire, but let the world believe you're still building it. The quiet winner. There's James, a made-up figure who inherited a small fortune and went stealth. He kept his old car, moved into a plane rental, worked 3 days a week as a consultant, and funneled the rest into a diversified structure: index funds, a duplex that covered expenses, a trust for family, and cash to buy assets on panic. 5 years later, his balance multiplied quietly. He didn't wear a crown. He bought an unlisted company at fire sale prices during a recession and turned it into a cash machine. No tabloids, no heartbreak, just sovereignty. That is the point. Visible glory is drama. Invisible mastery is endurance. Machiavelli said that because love is fickle, fear is consistent. I'll add this, not as a phrase to bully others, but as a rule to respect. Respect is reserved for those who deny their own trophies. People will trade proximity for status. Don't sell access cheaply. Practical tactics, fast and dirty. Don't quit your job until the fortress is built. Keep your income until passive returns are guaranteed. Hire a lawyer and a fiduciary. First call, first move. Set up a trust, explore holding companies, and build privacy into transactions. Set up a modest public persona. Let your social media be noise-free and boring. Automate savings into diversified vehicles. Compounding is the silent ally. Keep 3 to 6 months operating cash, plus a separate opportunity fund. The Prince's Raiding Party. Document all gifts. Never lend without a contract. Make charity traceable and final. The emotional war. Expect betrayal. The cruelest cost of sudden wealth isn't numbers, it's truth. You will learn who loved your person and who loved your pockets. Families fracture not because of malice, but because of expectation. People measure themselves against what they see. That measurement breeds comparison, and comparison becomes resentment. Machiavelli's solution was structural: create distance without cruelty, set rules that protect relationships from becoming ledgers. Luxury as instrument, not identity. Indulgence is fine if it's calibrated. Spend on what feeds you, not what signals envy. Status purchases are loud and invite accountants of bad intent. Buy pleasure privately. Display humility publicly. A tastefully chosen indulgence signals control. Extravagance signals surrender. Legacy over noise. The final move of a prince is not showmanship, it's succession. Money without legacy is a flash. Plan for continuity. Educate your heirs, align incentives, and create charities or foundations that encode your values into institutions. Wealth that survives is wealth that thinks in generations. Build fortresses of structure. Keep your hands in the work and harvest yield instead of principle. Be generous but strategic. Create a portfolio that behaves like a state, diversified, resilient, governed, and ready to exploit crises. Above all, remember, silence is not secrecy for the insecure. Silence is the sovereign's posture. It is calm, calculated, and lethal to opportunists. If you want to be remembered, don't scream about the crown. Craft the kingdom quietly, and let history whisper your name. Machiavelli would approve. He knew power's choreography. The moment you expose your riches, you move from player to prey. So remain unseen. Move like shadow royalty. Let the world think you are less than you are, and then act like the prince who buys ruins when others panic. Fortune is a woman who favors the bold, but she abandons the unprepared. Prepare in silence. Rule in strategy. Keep your mouth closed and your state secure. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.